Good evening and welcome back to Urban Stars. When last we left our intrepid heroes, they had just finished joining the resistance on Taris, officially. Our four starting heroes, Udel, Lukia, Varho, and Kuklik, spent quite a bit of time getting to know each other, getting to know the ins and outs of each character, and figuring out how they gel well together. This all culminated eventually in an assault on Empirico and a trip to rescue Kuklik's brother from a Star Destroyer, after they figured out that Empirico was working with Moff Taniel, which was a big no-no for the pit fighters. During that assault, Udel and Lukia together assaulted the entrance to Empirico's pit and then fled after the initial fight, only to be caged in their own base and have to run away. In the process of running away, they felt like they were being led on when Lukia revealed that she knew not only secret passages but had a place that they could remain safe until they could figure out what to do. Meanwhile, on the Star Destroyer, Varho and Kuklik tried to pretend that Kuklik was a droid and ultimately decided that wasn't working, so they burned a hole in the floor and went and found his brother. When they found Callist, he was in a trance, fixated on a Rakatan artifact, the very artifact that they had been sent to Taris in the first place to retrieve. After getting Callist safely back down to Varho's apartment and being interrogated briefly by Varho's old police partner, Neri Kaluve, they found that Callist had been entranced in some sort of rage state. And once the sedatives that he was on wore off, he literally attacked Kuklik, at which point they had to try to subdue him, and thanks to a triumph that was rolled, the artifact flipped and it went from a band of rage to an utter peace.
It was beautiful. That
wound up calming Neri and calming Callist and calming the entire room enough to where they could figure out what to do and how to go about their business, at which point Kuklik, Callist, and Varho met back up through a strange encounter with a man named Garth with the rest of Lugnug's pit. At Lukia's abandoned, broken down YT 1430?
Yep.
Boom, got it. I didn't think I was going to get that number. They met back up there where they began setting up a perimeter and setting up a base for the resistance in the undercity of Taris, at which point Kuklik and his family were offered a way back to the Roche asteroid field safely and soundly, thanks to Lugnug's string pulling. But instead of going, they decided to stay and join the resistance on Callist's nudging, to remain here on planet. Their antennae gone, their connection to the hive gone, all but Kuklik's. And help them to fight against the Empire that had imprisoned him and was looking to use these Rakatan artifacts for something sinister. That's where we left off. Where we pick up today is back in the Undercity. Really under the Undercity. The music gets whimsical and fluty, and the camera zooms into the YT 1430 to see Lugnug and Lukia and Udel and Kuklik and a human man dressed in modified laminate armor named Cal Tame, who has also in the time period joined this resistance. It's been 2 years since the events of the quote first film of Urban Stars, and things have gotten hectic. You guys were driven further and further underground, eventually having to mask your entire appearance by literally drilling into the rock. And now you're sitting in a cave with a blue dim light dangling from the ceiling, circled around a small stone table that's makeshift at best, trying to decide what to do next. Thanks to Callist and Galak, you were able to drill even further into this cave system and came out into a room full of machinations. and full of all kinds of technology that you not only didn't recognize but couldn't get to turn on. And you came to the inception as engineers. Thankfully, the Verpine are all very, very intelligent. Your group came to the conclusion that in order to get these lights on, you need to find where the generators or whatever powers this area are, and you need a very powerful fuel cell in order to power it. You're in this room because you've found one that doesn't belong to the Empire, and it's on what's called the Rogue Moon, hovering in orbit over Taris, going counter orbit to an asteroid belt that also floats near Taris. So the asteroids are going left and the moon is going right.
That must be lively.
Yeah, you bet it is. You've found a weak signal of what has to be a very powerful item on this moon. There's no heat signature, no physical presence on this moon. In fact, you barely even recognize it as a moon. It blends in with the asteroid belt so well. So you're here talking with Lugnug, establishing the plan of how you're going to get A, get a ship, B, get the fuel cell, and C, get back here safely. So here's how we're going to tackle this. We're going to do it Danny Ocean style. So you guys are going to roll me some dice. You're going to come up with how your character is going to approach this situation. I'll give you kind of obstacles as each person is giving me kind of what they're going to do with their dice. You'll give me like, here's the action that I want to try to accomplish. I'm going to write that action down, and I'm going to write down an obstacle to it. And we're basically going to go down that list, and those will be the scenes that we're going to establish when the film starts rolling. So I want you to come up with how are you approaching, in general, very abstractly, how you're approaching this type of an encounter. Like if your primary goal is going to be, well, I am strictly the pilot trying to get everybody to and fro safely, great. That's awesome. Rick, if that's how Kuklik is going to go about it, because I know he is a pilot and he's very skilled at that, then that's the thing you'll roll. And basically you're going to use successes as we go around the table to tell me what you do in conjunction with what's already been done.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense? It's very, we just recently released a 7th Sea thing. It's very similar to how that works. A little bit different and a little bit wonkier, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and get started. Who wants to give me their role first? Lucio, what are you doing?
You probably already figured on this, but in the 2 years, I'm assuming I've worked to establish and broaden my black market contacts and delve into all my thievery skills. So I would probably try to approach someone or a group of someone's about either acquiring a ship or a means of transport to the moon, either to pose as either asteroid mining is a thing. I'm sure that happens here. Some means or way of getting to and from there using the more thievery, skullduggery based.
Okay, so your job is going to be to get the vessel.
Vessel
or find the vessel, or like you're basically going to use your underworld abilities to achieve the things you guys need to achieve.
Correct.
Perfect. Prepare that underworld roll. There's going to be no difficulty. It's going to be simple. We're going to base it just off you guys' successes with no
knowledge underworld or streetwise.
Either or. I think knowledge underworld kind of makes more sense, but I'd say use whichever one of those is better for you.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to basically, he listed 2 options. One was getting us away there other than a ship by,
Oh, no. Nobody's listed any options. He's just said he's going to use his underworld contacts to get you there. You guys know you need a fuel cell. If you want to use the fuel cell on the moon, great. The Empire has plenty, like you could steal one from the Star Destroyer. I don't care where you get it from. I was giving you a safe way. quote unquote safe.
You're right.
You guys tackle it however you want. The point is, in order for the resistance to survive, you need fuel. That's kind of where we're at.
Would the fuel cell be considered an illegal good?
No.
Okay.
It's hard to get and very expensive, but not illegal.
That's fine. I have black market contacts on the thief tree, and I've got it twice over.
Sure.
So
I think go ahead and take that. Because you're using skullduggery. Like I said, this is very abstract. So use whatever gives you your best check to do the thing you're trying to do.
All right. So I guess I'll jump in here real quick.
Okay.
So since he's trying to acquire a ship, I'm actually going to try and...
well, it's not just a ship. I'm just using blanket.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
But what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to try and acquire through less than truthful means. I am going to try and acquire us some clearances in order to be able to get off and back on planet, like we're actually making a legitimate run.
Okay, great. So absolutely, what are you going for to roll for that?
Deception.
You're going for deception. Perfect. Let's roll it up.
Well, I'm lying my butt off because we're not supposed to do it
absolutely,
anyway.
absolutely. So try, guys. And this is kind of an aside. To use your character names when you're talking about what you're doing, just so it's less confusing for listeners.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so like say like Udell's going to or Lukia is going to. And I'm going to try to use your character names as well. But just kind of as an aside, I've noticed that about especially our audio-only listeners.
Okay, click.
Yes.
Depending on the mode of transportation going there, but on both of them I'll use intelligence. So for the roll. But if we're going to be riding in someone else's ship, then I'll try to come up with a device that will allow us to hone in on the signal and track the signal.
Okay.
So we can find the fuel cell. And or I'm going to try, if we're flying our own ship, I'm going to try to use my astrogation abilities to find us a route that will be the stealthiest.
Sure. So astrogation, I think that would be more of a piloting space. Astrogation more fills the lines of like extensive space travel.
Okay. So,
like this is like literally like distance from planet to moon.
Gotcha.
So astrogation doesn't really apply. You're not like looking at hyperlanes and stuff like that. Astrogation is like reading a map.
Okay.
It's like reading a space map. Cool. So Cal. And I think absolutely if you want to do piloting for that, perfect. If you want to do mechanics, just kind of either way that you want to. These are not the checks you're making to accomplish the task. These are the checks you're making to make the plan. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like this is you guys sitting around the table making the plan with Lugnug. Mm-hmm. This is not you actually doing the thing.
So, which is why I went the black market.
It's abstract. It's like your primary goal to mechanically find the thing and secure it in the quickest and stealthiest way possible, or is it to pilot really well and stealthily? And it's kind of like you have to answer that question. Do you want in an abstract way?
And Percy, so that you're aware, Udell is going to actually use his second chances to talent on this one.
Okay,
that's better.
Good. Cool. So, click. Which role are you gonna think? Do you think you're gonna? And I would say do whichever one's better, but kind of narratively make your actions make sense with that.
Okay. I'll do the piloting.
Okay, great. So go ahead and make that piloting roll. It's simple, so no purples. And then Cal, you've been with the Resistance for about a year now, so people trust you. There's not kind of a question of your motive or anything like that. They know that you're an ex-commando. They know, and listeners don't necessarily know a ton about you right now, so you can take this time to give a tiny bit of background, like this is why I'm making this decision, kind of thing. So you take it away and tell me what you're going to try to do.
So what I really feel like Cal would probably be doing is trying to make sure that we have like any means necessary to like defend ourselves, medical supplies, anything that if anything could go awry during this, that way we could have it
so
covered.
You're kind of playing the role of quartermaster.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think knowledge warfare makes sense there. I think that survival would make sense there. What do you think? Like, what are you going for with that? What skill?
I can go survival.
Okay, cool. Survival definitely works for me.
Okay. So that's a
And go ahead and keep your dice in front of you, set up. All right. I think we're ready. So, click. How many successes and advantages did you get?
2 advantage, 2 success, and a triumph.
So you have 3 successes and a triumph.
3 successes and a triumph.
There we go.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Mathing is hard.
Yeah, that's true.
Will the advantage count for anything?
It will.
Okay.
Also, click. Is your belt making that noise on the chair again?
Yes.
We're not that kind of podcast, but take the belt off.
I can go get like a blanket to put over that if that would help.
I can scoot forward.
Okay. Either way.
It's a pillow right there. Just stick it behind you. Give you a little bit of a backrest.
That's much more uncomfortable. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so you've got Click has 3 successes, 2 advantages, and 1 triumph. Lukia, what do you got?
5 and 2.
5 successes, 2 advantages.
That is correct.
That's impressive, is what that is. Cal.
2 successes and 2 advantages.
Udell.
I've got 3 successes and 2 advantages.
By the way, that could have been a lot better for me. I had 2 blank dice.
And we're just going to label this as T, no reason. Has 3 successes, 2 advantages, and 1 triumph as well. Has the same role as Click. So, Lukia, you were seeking the stuff to get this task done. Start us off. You were using your black market contacts to try to find ships and things like that. So you have 5 successes. So you take the first action, and essentially, here's what's gonna play out. You give me your action. I can then, as the T, use an advantage to counteract that, to give you some sort of obstacle in the midst of that. I can also use a dark side point to do that. When I take an action, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give kind of, here's what they're doing in direct opposition to what you guys are trying to do. You can then use your advantages to introduce an obstacle to them. However, because there are 4 of you and 1 of me, you can't use light side points to modify this. One of you has to use an advantage in order to add an obstacle.
And we can jump in on other people's.
No,
if
no,
narratively
you can
we
jump
can
in on mine.
only.
Yeah,
okay.
you can't use your advantage to boost theirs.
Right, but if you do something to counter, and we can narratively come up with a reason why we could.
No,
Okay.
no, just 1 advantage spent in each thing. If we get to a point where I think that's not making as much sense as it does in my head, then sure, we'll get there. I am phoning this in.
Fair enough. Yes, this is unusual, but it
Yeah.
should be fun.
Yeah. So
Well, we've had 2 years to prepare. This is kind of like the rough edging of.
yeah. This is you guys trying to solidify your underground presence so that you can begin counterattacking.
Exactly. So, real quick before we get too far into this,
Okay.
Are we below still my YT 1430, or have I lost that?
You've probably lost that. Like, I think that was most likely bulldozed.
Okay. Or whatever space
Yeah,
bulldozing.
like you guys wouldn't have gone completely underground like this if that was still available. Like, y'all would still have a scouting station there or something.
Would you have been able to salvage everything?
Not everything, but maybe some scrap.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of sucks, but okay.
Yeah, I feel you. But don't worry, there'll be plenty of tech whenever you guys finish
Oh,
this one.
well, but I mean, it was a hollowed out shell anyway.
Exactly.
It's just one of those things. I had reasons to have it.
Yeah, that memory,
The
the
memories.
nostalgia.
Yeah, no.
Of a
That's why I'm
time.
asking the question. So, because of that,
Okay.
I want to find an old derelict YT 1430 for reasons. That's why I was.
Mighty.
You want me to fly that, though,
14,
remember.
30.
Yes, I'm well aware. But
Okay.
Corellian ships are great ships.
That's true. All right, I am not going to get in the way of that check happening necessarily. Like, I'm not going to introduce a particular obstacle to that one. So, Lucia, you have spent 1. That puts you down to 4. So you still have the highest.
Can I hold my action? Is that a possibility?
No.
Okay. So I have found. Are you saying that I have found a?
I'm saying that you will find. You have not yet
Okay.
found. But it's going to be kind of like one of those. It's very like I said. This is Danny Ocean style. So
Yeah.
we're gonna, if there's not like some check to be made, some obstacle to do, we're basically gonna like quick screen dash, make the check. You got the ship. Quick screen dash to the next thing, unless there's an obstacle to address.
Yeah, just like in Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
They needed a pinch. They went and found the pinch. They got the pinch. They used the pinch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then like when they're trying to go through the lasers, they get to the room. They find the lasers. Oh, there's more lasers. Now we have to do a full scene.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. Exactly. So, in that case, if I found or have an inkling of the 1430.
Well, you said it was derelict specifically. I wrote that word down.
Yeah.
So it's broken.
Yeah.
It's not flyable.
Correct.
Okay.
So
Why couldn't you find a flyable ship?
Yeah, I know. It's his choice.
because I know how Percy works. If I ask for a pristine YT,
Then I would have introduced an obstacle.
exactly.
I should have done a mechanics check then.
You can still mechanically do things.
Anyway, continue.
I want the other check to be that it's got, and I know this is going to be a bit of a stretch because I may not have the technical know how to do this, but maybe something in my background will have taught me how to do this with old swoop bikes, is that it doesn't have a cloaking device, but it doesn't register on like normal standard sensor sweeps. Like if it gets close enough, like if we flew by the Star Destroyer, it would just show up as a random blip, not a full-blown YT-1430 flying by. It's got like a minimized profile or something like that.
So it shows up as space junk?
I think that's doable, but I think that's less of that's less of this. That's less of getting the job done and more of like a narrative flavor to add to the ship. So I'll tell you what, you can spend one of your advantages
Done.
to add the minimized cloaking to the ship.
Done. That still leaves me 4 and 1. So I will then say that the
I think you're coming up with like you're trying to do it like 7th Sea where it's like one step after another. You're coming up with a full scene. Like your first scene, find the YT-1430. Next scene, what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, I was trying to add some flavor to it, but
Sure.
the next scene that I would be doing would be finding and this may have to go to Odell, either because Odell and I both have maybe spent some time at the casinos with our profiles with who we worked with in the time jump to get some bank to maybe retrofit the ship.
Okay, so your next scene is get money.
Yeah.
Well, he has
through
underworld contacts.
illicit or non-illicit means.
Get funding.
Yep.
Sounds like a good plan. All right, great. So that's going to take us to the threes, and Villain's going to go first here. While you're in whatever bank or wherever you guys are, you get made.
You're a made man now. Lucky you.
Lucia is a girl.
Oh, made girl. Yeah, but the term is made man. So.
I will spend my other advantage to proc one of my incidentals is that
Those are for less abstract activities.
I know, but I'm basically going to say I'm indistinguishable. I have that actually on my character sheet.
No, I got you. Whoever this is that's looking for you is looking for specifically you. You can add an obstacle to them finding you, but the die was spent. You have been made.
Okay.
So your advantage can be like, I know a way out.
So like
kind of
he's
thing.
been seen,
Yeah,
but
you've
he
been
gets away.
spotted, but you can provide a way for you to potentially get away.
Okay.
That's what an obstacle is. Obstacle is not subverting the entire success.
Okay. Then I will just say that I'll got a way out.
So you know a way out.
Yeah.
So Lucia, I know a way out. Okay.
That sounds kind of like the end of the last episode.
It does, and it sounds very like your character.
Pretty much.
We're going to bump him down to 2 there. So next up, Udell, Lucia, and Keklik, you all have 3.
All right.
So any one of you can spend
Narratively, probably I should go.
one. Okay, go for it.
I will assume that I went with him to inspect the ships, being the pilot and the mechanic.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
And even though this was a derelict ship, it was, not in super bad shape. I made sure that it was decent. And I'm going to use my first success to fly it back, okay, to pilot it to wherever we need to go, and become familiar enough with it that I will get a boost die piloting the ship.
Okay. We
Want me
can
to spend
say
an advantage to do that too?
I don't think it'll give you a boost, but it'll get you familiar enough where you don't have to make rolls with your piloting skill just to do basic flying.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
So it'll subvert that initial piloting check.
And I'll get it back to where we need to go without it being...
Yeah, so it's not space worthy, but its thrusters can get it around basically on planet.
It's not even freaking space worthy. What were you thinking?
It's derelict. What do you want from me?
So do I need to
I
use...
didn't add that.
I know. I did that on purpose.
Keklik gets the ship.
Did you honestly expect me to get a perfectly working ship through
No,
black
but
market
not
contacts?
a derelict ship. Well, I would have... it's...
Anyway.
Okay, go ahead.
So I am going to add an obstacle to that.
Fine.
I am going to add an obstacle of...
But the hull falls apart?
No.
The thruster falls off?
there's nowhere to land.
There's nowhere to land.
There's nowhere to land. The city is taking up the entire place, so where are you going to put it?
Remember, we're
I'll tell you where to put it.
Remember, we're underground. They raised my old base.
Yeah, so like where are you going to land? How are you going to hide it? And that's not to say like you won't be able to. That's an obstacle. So like you guys will have to find a way around that. It'll be a full scene that will play out.
Okay.
Instead of it just being, hey, I got the ship here. All right, so Keklik is down to 2 successes now. Is there anything you can spend advantages to add to kind of your ability? It can't subvert what I've added as the obstacle, but I'll say because I only have 3 successes that you guys could possibly use advantages for. So just kind of like how he added the modification to the ship with the minimized cloaking. You
Okay,
can add something to the
mine
scene.
is the fact that because I was there and I
Okay.
inspected the ship before we took it, it's not... I mean, it's... you're saying it's not space worthy, but it's pretty well.
It's
very
nearly
minor.
there. It
It's
needs
nearly,
like a part.
right.
Rick, may I interject here just a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
What may be a possibility is that it's one of those that it's a you fix it, all the parts are included in the cargo bay kind of routine.
Yeah, kind of like when you buy a motorcycle in a box.
Okay,
Or a cheap Chinese ATV.
or a Korean War Jeep.
So basically,
So
it's
everything's there.
we just got to put it
You
together.
just have to put it together.
Fair enough.
Okay, cool.
And
I
so
like
that takes
So
one
that'll
of
take an advantage.
Okay.
It's a fixer-upper.
It's a that's right. So Lucia and Udell, you each have 3.
It's,
All right,
it's
I'm
a
gonna go.
junkyard diamond in the rough.
I'm going to go. So Udell is... Udell's going to go to the Imperial Mining and Engineering Office to get permits for mining in the asteroids, or exploratory mining in the asteroids.
Oh, interesting. Exploratory
Mining permit.
mining permits. Sounds good.
Thornton his plans.
But
Yeah, I knew there was a butt coming.
He's going to run out of butts pretty soon.
you're not the only one.
Okay.
Does he know this?
He will when he gets there. All right, Lucia, you're the only one with 3 left.
Yep.
Well, did you before you go? Did you want to use an advantage?
Yes,
to add
I
something
do.
To that? Okay.
Yes, I do. The young lady that I saved works
Oh, dang! All right. You've got an indebted clerk.
Yes, I
Perfect.
still remember session
Nice.
one.
No, that's great. That's great. That's a good callback. Cool. Now, Lukia. And I am down to having to use dark side points in order to influence.
That's
your
good
side
for
of
us.
Stuff. No, it is. Yeah, I'm just making sure you guys know.
Cool.
I do have a triumph that I can use, but those are both of ours are going to come at the end.
Okay.
Do. I really wish I could hold because I don't really have anything square away that I could use.
Well, we do need to find a place to land. Some of your underworld contacts could come in handy there.
Well, that's the thing.
Well, that scene is gonna all play out at once, so
Yes.
like we will have
Okay.
already landed by the time we get to this story point.
Yeah. He's setting it up like a storyboarded mission. So, that'll work because we're talking about it. Mining gear. Being
That's
able
a good call because you guys would not have been able to bash through that rock using just the hull of your ship.
So does that put you with me going to go buy or going to go get things for the trip?
possibly,
That is what you signed up for.
but
So,
you have 2 and 2 now.
Yeah, so kind of in an imaginative state. I know we're logistically talking about dice, but really it all comes down to like you guys are having this conversation, and Lukia, you kind of look at Lugnug. He's like, "So what do we do?" And you bring up your first point of the derelict. So how do you, let's have that conversation and let's make the rest of it be like that. Be like a conversation between you guys and Lugnug. So
And this is occurring
yeah,
before.
this is you guys around the table talking about how you're
Okay.
going to do
Little
this.
plan.
So how do we even get to this moon?
Well, Lugnug, it's we've been down here a little while, but I've been trying to expand and solidify what little we have left up surface. So I think I might know a guy who probably has in his junkyard another. I know you hate it, but another 1430. We might be able to make use of that, and he might be able to let it go for cheap.
Yeah, maybe, but cheap is still more expensive than we can afford. We've wasted all of our credits. We have nothing. We're starving. We're thirsty. How do you expect to find any cash?
You'll have to help me here with the character name because the trainer
Yours was Hans Gregor.
Yeah. Well, Udell and I and Hans could maybe make a quick run of it at one of the lower end casinos. We know how to operate that crowd.
He kind of moves his hand over his face. So say we buy the ship. I'm assuming you can pilot it.
I should be able to repair it and pilot it, yes.
Well-
And my brothers can help.
As long as we got a pilot and as long as we've got a ship, I've been paying attention to these asteroids and the way that they're flowing to the moon. We, maybe we can exploit some of those city contacts that I have and see if we can fake ourselves a little mining escapade. Get some permits that'll give us travel plans.
Permits are great, but we still have nothing to drill with.
Well, I might be able to work on that end too. I mean, there's lots of different vendors out there who I still know. I could probably lean on one or two of them.
If we get the equipment, I should be able to use it.
Okay, great. So
My
now,
people mine in asteroids as a way of life.
So do you think? So let me get back to that. So we're all at 2s. Everybody has 2s. So T is gonna go first because he's the villain, and then we'll round table for everybody. So I'm gonna write on here. Lugia got made, she may know a way out. But somewhere in that, like, collecting the mining gear, you met somebody in either a cantina or in their place of business, and before you really knew what was going on, the place was surrounded, and in through the door walks Moftaniel. And that's going to be the 2 for T. I wonder what that means now. Now, click. So you said if we get the money, sure, you can use it. I get that, but I don't know if you'll be able to use it fast enough. Once the Empire knows that we're drilling into the moon, there will be no stopping the onslaught.
Maybe, maybe not. They may not know we're drilling into the moon if we do it properly.
They'll see the energy signatures. So knowing that you can drill into the moon is not enough to spend an action point there. That's not like a scene. That's just, I know this. Well, yeah, you're a mechanic. Of course you know this.
Right.
So how do you add to, like, what's the scene that you want to add in there?
For drilling into the moon.
Yeah, and don't forget, like, these are essentially all of these story points. Like, think of them as pseudo triumphs. Like, these are things that are going well for you.
I can potentially use the ship to maneuver the moon. Oh, this is on a moon.
Yes.
I can't maneuver a moon.
No, probably not.
But possibly when we find it, it might be in a location that will not be readily visible to the Empire's sensors.
Click. Is it possible? And I'm only going to ask, is it possible that you can jerry-rig something up where we drop the transponder on one of the asteroids?
To have them focus there?
I don't know
Certainly.
if its sensor sweeps will pick us up elsewhere, but is it possible to do that?
It is possible. I could possibly also rig up some sort of static jamming, energy jamming device that might make it look like a natural phenomenon.
Okay, so we can get there when we get there, but disguise our presence.
Yes.
Is your next story plan.
Yes.
Great. And I am going to flip this point. TIE Patrol.
And ever since you said that, all I can think of is T for 2 and 2 for T.
Well, that's not my fault. That's your fault.
You said it.
All right. The rest of you guys want to add anything? You each got 2 action points left.
I'm thinking.
All right. So, obviously, our money situation is going to play out in another scene. So, I think what I'll end up doing is to complete the ruse is see if I can fake or if we can not just fake the permit, but basically fake a legit a business. That's got a background, so kind of like his slicing to create a pseudo business that's out there that has a reputable background in mining. So,
all right, sounds good. So, fake mining business is what I'm gonna write down here. You want to use some advantages to add something into that, maybe?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. Next up is we've still got Cal and Lukia. You each have 2.
So obviously we still need to go grab the the supplies, the medical supplies, anything else along with the mining equipment.
Yeah, you'll probably need some kind of equipment there.
We should probably grab some suits environmental suits.
Boom, got it. Environmental suits.
That way they don't just look at our ship and be like, y'all are going to go mining without suits to go out there, huh?
That's a great plan. Secure environmental suits. Do you want to spend one of your advantages to add something to those suits or to that action?
Grab boots. Well, I guess grab boots wouldn't. Well, grab boots, not necessarily magnetic.
Yeah, we can do grab boots.
Grab boots? That might be an okay idea. I think, well, one of the things about this moon, and you guys would know this from being on Taris this long, its gravity pull is not heavy at all. So grab boots is probably a good call.
Okay, and so that would be a success on one of my advantages?
Yep.
Right. Okay, cool.
So down to 1 and 1. And Lukia, your next scene. What's up? This is, of course, precluding you did the Taniel scene. It's gone.
Right. Because I can't change anything about that.
Correctamundo. You can kind of retroactively at this point spend an advantage to...
I have no more advantage.
You do have one.
Nope.
What'd you spend them on?
I spent it on the ship is stealthy, and I have a way out.
Oh, you did. You're right. I didn't mark down the have a way out. Cool. So what do you want to do for your next scene? You guys still don't have the fuel cell at this point. And you've got 5 scenes left to get it.
Oh, that's still...
Yes.
Okay.
That's still very important.
We get the fuel cell? I mean, is that really all it comes down to? That sounds kind of cheap.
So here's how I'm seeing it play out right now. You find the ship, you get the funding. You get spotted. Keklik gets the ship somewhere safe and practices in it for a day or two until he can successfully fly it and fixes the ship. No problem, no harm, no foul. In the process of Keklik doing that, Udell gets the mining permits and you get the mining equipment. In the process of that happening, Cal is also getting the suits needed for the expedition. At that point, he's getting the suits, and Keklik has practiced disguising the presence, he's fashioned whatever object he needs to do in order to, I don't know, toss 10 transponders out to asteroids so that they get an illegitimate radar reading, whatever you guys decide to do with that. So once you've got that ready to go, I think you're ready to take off.
Okay, so he could say we fly to the moon.
Exactly.
Okay.
It can be something as simple as that.
We fly to the moon.
Great. You fly to the moon. Perfect. Boom. That's what I wanted to hear. Fly to the moon.
Let me play among the stars.
And I guess I will say, unless someone else has something they want to do, I'll say that I am able to do it in a fashion that does not attract attention and locate the energy signature.
Okay, so you want to spend your advantage to add to that and say
Yes.
that? Okay. So no attention. And I think at some point you had already said you can find the radar signature, so I'm not going to write that down twice.
Okay.
Cool. So we're down to all ones.
Or
There's
zeros.
already going to be a tie patrol, so I don't feel like I need to add that in per se as my last one. But I'm having trouble thinking of what it should be with you guys going to the asteroid field, and the only thing that I can think of is meteor shower. So that's what I'm going to write down.
Well, good thing we got a solid ship.
You hope. All right, cool. So that's all of my stuff except for dark size points spent. You guys have 4 more actions to fly away safely with the fusion core.
Well, I have a triumph is all I have left.
Well, yeah. Well, you still have an action.
With the triumph.
No. You have a success and a triumph left.
Yeah.
Because my...
No, you adding to when you
that was
fly to
just
the
my
moon,
advantage I
That was
used.
just an advantage.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Yeah, and don't forget that triumphs do count as successes, so that's
No,
why.
I know.
Yeah, I've already got that marked down.
Well, I guess since this is, I will just say that. And we have to fly back too as part of this whole part of our.
Yeah, but that's going to be kind of like not negligible, but negligible-ish.
Okay. So how any of this play out in our scene, or is this?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
We're establishing the plan. You guys are sitting around a table talking about.
So we're writing the dungeon for you.
Yes and no.
Sort of.
I thought you guys would be more excited about this. It's not turning out that way.
No, it's
but
good.
We're rolling with it.
It's good. No, I am.
It's a twist. We're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
We're trying to play the whole scene out, and it's just.
Which is why we thought we were just planning up until we got to the moon, not so much there and back again.
Well, and that's why I'm letting you guys know this is what's coming.
Yeah. Right. No.
This is
now we
what's gonna
understand.
happen.
So, as far as the success will be, my last success will be to be able to secure the fuel cell, extract it from wherever we need to, and get it back onto the ship.
Securing
safely.
The cell.
Not in a derelict condition.
The fuel cell. Okay. And you don't have any advantages to say that, but does somebody want to spin an advantage to say that the fuel cell is in perfect working order?
Done.
Unless we completely botched the mining roll.
Okay, great. All right, 3 more turns. And they don't have to be like exactly what you rolled. Like yours doesn't have to be deception based.
Well, that's why we got there was...
Yeah, especially at this point, like you're just kind of, you've got the fusion core. Great.
That's why I was struggling with, I was trying to keep it to my roll, too, with my 2. It's like, well, what else do we need? Okay, what else makes sense from a black market contact standpoint? Mm-hmm.
Could any of your contacts run a diversion for us?
That would be a little bit too much, I think. And on top of the fact that...
Yeah, they're black market guys. They're not going to put themselves in danger for
Fair enough.
A rebel cause.
Because it's a Curly and YT, I don't know. No. Because I can do that incidentally. Never mind. Thank you, smuggling perks. I'm thinking that my last success will be that we get it to the planet and to the underground base without dealing with planetary defenses. Like, no one...
You can say that you get it to the base. But you can't subvert potential obstacles in your description.
Oh, you're going to flip a dark side point for that?
I am.
I guess I was just going to say we get it to the base and get it connected up. Like, no problem.
Well, that getting it connected would be a different scene, a different action. I am going to flip a dark side point. You make it the base. That's your attempt anyway. However, Empirico is watching.
Cool.
Now, Jason, you're talking about getting us back to our current base.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Udell and Cal, you guys have both 1 success and 1 advantage.
Are there
left.
weapons on these Carillions? And should we put weapons on these Carillions?
I'm sure there is. I don't know what book it's in, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's finish this up, and we're going to actually go to break as soon as this is over.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there's not any weapons, I'd like to secure some weapons for the...
So at this point, you're too far in the scene.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense to get more weapons once you're flying back.
Okay, I'll go because maybe his can be more of the interim once we're physically back routine, right?
Yeah.
So
the YT does have weapons.
Here's what I would like to do with my last success. I want to, or Odell would want to have access to a private landing facility or a private landing pad.
Okay.
Maybe it's the governor's.
That might not be the best idea.
I know.
A private landing pad. Sounds good. Do you want to spend an advantage to say that that's not even in the Undercity, but there is a...
I don't have one.
Oh, yeah, you do.
I spin it to...
You still got an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
He does have an advantage.
So, like, with this, could I use the success, since we'd be back at this point, to for us to have familiarized ourselves prior with the like the patterns that the Empire is using around the area, so it's better for us to get back, like, or we'll move around once we're back?
I think that you can spend your point to... you can maybe spend your point to say you've got a trooper contact
Okay.
that you've been in communication with in some way.
Okay, and then can I use the advantage to let him know that, or for him to let us know that we've already been spotted by the...
Sure, you can use your advantage to say he's friendly.
Okay.
And that would essentially give you that.
Okay.
Write down you have a contact, too, for future reference.
Yeah, trooper contact. Who is friendly?
Do you want to give him the name that I can write down real quick?
Give
or
him a
just-
name.
Give him a name.
Oh,
Bob.
Please don't call him Bob. Please don't.
Robert
Bob,
Madavi.
Bob doesn't tend to do well.
No, his his nickname is Bob, but his numbers is I30 I3.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, no.
Cool. I think that's it. You still have an advantage though, Cal. Oh, you spin
I
it to
used
make
it
him
to-
friendly.
yeah.
Cool. So that's everything spin up. So that'll be it for Urban Stars today. Thanks so much for listening to Well That Didn't Work. Next week when you tune in, we will be diving straight into this Danny Ocean style game. We're excited to start that, and we hope to see you then. Until then, keep on adventuring.
Click, signing off.